Hey, Taylor. Thanks for sending that to me. Sorry it's taken me a minute to get back to you. Like I said, I checked it on my phone and then I didn't forget about it. I just didn't get back to it on the computer. So, a couple of thoughts. Overall, it looks fine. I think, and I'm going to share an example with you of my poster that I've made in the past and presented. It's going to be a little text heavy because posters traditionally, the way a poster presentation works is you stand next to your poster, people come around, and if they have questions, they can ask you. This is more of a presentation, and so that's why it probably feels a little weird. So bullet points, I guess, are fine, but make sure you have enough on the screen for people to read and develop questions from, if that makes sense. And so your context. Be clear about the context and the factors. I thought some of them seemed to be sub-factors versus a larger overall kind of point of view. And so are the factors white teachers and the critical role that teachers play in socio-emotional learning and self-esteem and motivation? Like, that wasn't clear. I should be able to look at that and it should make sense, and then you explain on top how that's all coming to be. I would also encourage you to move up the problem statement underneath the context. I think yours makes more sense to go context, problem, and then the research question. So the context is here's the school context. These are the factors. This is what's going on, which creates this problem, which leads me to my question. I hope that makes sense. So I would probably swing the problem up underneath context and then leading into the research question. So your research question, you've got 3 of them. Which one of those did Dr. Burton approve? You want to have your central strong question. And so it seems like you're asking specifically, let me see, how can we better address student socio-emotional learning issues within the reality of school? And then underneath that, how do we build better relationships? And then how do we shift that concept of poor behavior? Because I think at the root of that is, it's poor behavior, right? So make sure you're using the research question that Dr. Burton officially approved, and then you can add smaller sub-questions underneath it. The lit review. So the literature review, you should identify specifically maybe 3 or 5 articles that said things that you found to be useful and interesting. So the lit review should basically be a collection of those central concepts that you saw in all of the articles, and then you should cite, or I would even pull out a quote from an article to share. And so you might say, the literature has a lot to say about this. For example, author 2022 says this. That relates to the problem. Author 2022 said this. And so you kind of can lay out the lit review to show, like, I did research. These are the articles. These are the authors. This is what I found. Pull quotes, and this is where you might have them fade in and fade out. You could fade in the quote on top of another, on top of another. I can show you how to do that if you'd like. But the literature, it's not a discussion. The literature review only speaks about what the experts say. Think of it like that. What do the experts say? What does the research say? Then the discussion is where you take the experts' ideas and the problem, and then you start to talk about how the experts' ideas can maybe address the problem. That's really what you've got in your solutions. Your solutions are very vague. So your solutions, build relationships, be empathetic, reflect. I think that's what you can put in the discussion. The solutions part should be, what are you going to do yourself? The solution should be Taylor specific, just for you. And you might say, from the discussion, this is the solution I think is best for me in my context. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to change my practice. And so you've started with that context and the problem that led to your research question. You dove into the literature The literature says XYZ. You discuss that in relation to the problem, and then you say, here's what I'm going to do. I hope this makes sense. You can email me back if you want to talk further. I'm here all day, all week. You don't present until Thursday. We've got time. If you want to tweak it or play around with Prezi, you let me know, okay? I'll talk to you soon. Email me. Where is the pause? I found it.